All right, this is how I plan to do my splits this year. I will be using this magical box. So I did a ton of research on splitting bees and trying to learn how to procreate my bees to get my bees to produce bees that have the same genes as my bees, because I want to split hives and I want to propagate my hives because I like my hives and I want to make more of the same hives. So I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of watching videos, and this is what I came up with. I'd like to thank everybody who recommended and pointed me toward learning about Michael Palmer. Michael Palmer, you can look him up. He's an amazing beekeeper in Vermont, a very similar climate to what I'm dealing with. Michael Palmer is famous for overwintering nukes. He is famous for propagating bees and getting his bees to winter over in small boxes so that as soon as the spring hits, he's able to expand those hives and grow those hives into full hives, and then take bees from those hives and make more nukes. And he just has like a nuke factory going up in Vermont where he is. And he uses this to do the job. He calls this a resource hive. I've seen it called other things, but I'm calling it a resource hive because that's kind of how I learned about it. Now I know there's lots of ways you can split a beehive. I could take a hive that has 2 brood boxes, leave the queen in one, take one brood box off, buy a queen, drop a queen in there, boom, I have 2 hives. The other way to do it is to take frames of brood out of your hive and put it into a nuke. And then you could also add a queen and then have a nuke with a queen, a mated queen who starts laying and then builds up that hive. And then the other way you can do it, which is what I hope to do, is to take frames of brood from a hive, put those frames into a nuke, and let the bees make their own queen. And then that queen will have the genes from the mother queen, the mother of those original bees. And that's what I want to do. So in learning about how to do this and learning about taking frames of brood and putting them in nukes, I was looking into getting a whole bunch of nuke boxes and trying this out. And that's when I went back and learned more about Michael Palmer and learned about his hives and what he uses. And I decided to go this route. So let me take you in here and show you what this thing does. So what this is a 10 frame box divided down the middle to create 2 4-frame nukes. So check this out. We have 2 separate inner covers. We have 2 4-frame nuke boxes. And we have a 10 frame deep box with a divider. So there's space here for 4 frames and 4 frames. Check out the bottom board. Bottom board has spacers and dividers here that create 2 openings. So you have one nuke on this side has an opening here. The other nuke has an opening from the back. It's like a mirror image. So when I make up my hives, I'm going to put a honey frame in each side. I'm going to put a couple frames of brood on each side, and I'm going to put a drawn out frame on the outside. This is the Michael Palmer method. Then I'm going to close them up. I'm going to put inner covers on each one, like this. These holes are here to feed if I need to feed, and I'm going to close them all up, just like this. Now those bees are going to go in there, and they're going to be queenless, and the bees are going to start creating queen cells. One side over here is going to create queen cells, and then they're going to create queen cells, and they're going to be flying out of their respective boxes, like this. Now once they've successfully made a queen on each side, I can put another level on with 4 more frames. 4 more frames. So now we have 8 frames stacked up on top of each other. Let them build up 8 frames. Then we have an 8-frame hive, which I have 8-frame brood boxes. So I could just take, once they build this up, say midsummer, I could take these frames out and create a new hive for them to build up for the fall. Now the reason this is called a resource hive is if I don't want to create a new hive, I could just use this system to create brood, to create queens, to create just frames of pulled comb that I could then spread around the bee yard. So these hives are just kind of self-sufficient little factories that make brood, that make comb, that store honey. So in here you'd have 4 over 4 frames, so 8 frames stacked up on each other, and 8 frames over here stacked on each other. And you have a queen on each side. It's also possible to then take a 10 frame medium box and put that on top with a queen excluder right here and actually super this thing and let the worker bees go up high and super and share the honey and share the production of the honey, but to keep a queen excluder on top of this so that the queens don't intermingle, but the workers do apparently go up and will super into supers and put honey up top. So the ultimate goal here would be to put, brood from one hive and brood from another hive. Let my successful hives here create their own queens, build them up to another level, and then midsummer get these into new boxes, and then I have 2 brand new hives. Now at that point, I could also, if we're talking midsummer here, maybe July, if it's before mid-July, I could do this again, put another 4 frames, and introduce a mated queen in here and let them just build up for the fall and then get 2 more hives out of this box. So I could potentially get 4 hives by doing this 2 times in a summer and come out of this with 4 new hives this year, which would be awesome. So if you're wondering why have 2 nukes slammed together? Well, this is the cool thing about this hive. Michael Palmer figured this out, and he uses this to get his boxes over the winter. Say you have a little nuke here on either side. You build them up. Those 2 nukes, you have 2 nukes together sharing warmth, and they will cluster on either side of this divider. The queens don't cross, the bees don't cross, but they do cluster together, and they keep this hive warm for the winter. And this is how Michael Palmer overwinters his nukes. So I would have 2 nukes sharing warmth together. And it seems like it works. I'm going to give it a shot this year. So I could then wrap this up, just like I normally do, put this over there on the hive stand, have my solar wall behind it here, and then just get this thing to get through the winter. And then I would have nukes, hopefully going through winter, coming out of the spring with a couple slamming nukes for next spring, which I could then instantly put into hives and then just start the whole system all over again. So that's the idea. That's the plan. So the reason I have that painted is because when a virgin queen is born in that hive and she goes out on her mating flight, I want to increase the odds of her coming back to this hive. And that would be her nuke side. And over here, we have another color, and it's facing the other direction. So she would orient to a different direction over here and a different color. And it just increases the odds of her finding her way back. So that's the back entrance, and that's the front entrance. So I really like this system, and I actually like it so much, I got 2 of them. So here's the other one. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do with all these bees, well, we've expanded the bee yard. So yeah, check it out. We have room for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. We got space for 10 new hives. 10 new hives. I don't know if we're going to get 10 new hives this year, but we have the room, and we're going to go for it. So thanks for watching. Check out the next video, and we'll see about doing some splits.